This podcast is brought to you by Legend Comics and Coffee in Omaha, Nebraska, and listeners like you. Head to our website, twitednerd.com. Learn how you can support us on Patreon or, just shoot us a PayPal donation. It keeps the show ad-free, and we swear we'll hurt ourselves if you don't.
Once, they were two best friends managing a comic book store. But when an innocent blood oath went wrong, the two found themselves trapped in the same body, imprisoned in a strange pyramid made of long boxes, buried deep below their hometown, where they are doomed to discuss comic books until the end of time. They were once Joe and Matt. Now they are known as the Two-Headed Nerd. And this is their podcast.
Broadcasting from the Ziggurat at Omaha, in caverns deep below the metro area, it is our pleasure to welcome you to episode 810 of the Two-Headed Nerd Comic Book Podcast. I'm your head number one, and my name is Matt Baum.
I'm the Internet's Joe Patrick, your head number two. It's time for another new comic show where we'll come up with plain old human content for reviews of 8 comics from the past 2 new comic book days. After that, we'll set you up with our must-read new comic picks for next week.
Who cares about human content? Ugh, give me a break, man. In this episode, Kevin Smith no-write Bizarro with not good art. Daredevil gets a number 1 with a new villain. Wonder Man gets a new mini too. Godzilla invades fair Verona. And Firestorm's even more furious than usual. Plus, even more short reviews during our Ludicrous Speed Reads segment. It's all happening in this Montague massacring edition of THN, and it starts now. It is review time in the Ziggurat.
Before we lose our jobs to far more capable AI comic reviewers, let's explain why our sometimes misguided human touch is better for our rating system.
We promise not to touch you, though. We won't do that.
Unless you want us to.
Unless you want it.
Each comic we review is rated using our 3-point scale of buy it, skim it, or leave it. Stop that.
Sorry.
All ratings are subjective. They are never a personal indictment of the creators, and they're subject to change if, one of us comes up with the right prompt for the other. Let us know what you think of our opinions over at our Discord. Just don't expect us to use any of your agents if they disagree with our takes.
Can't have that. We've got good ones that write this shit for us. So they've got us down.
Macho, we don't need no synthezoid to fetch our review comics for us, but we like it when you do it even more.
Yeah, we just like it better when Macho does it, all right?
I'm more than happy to help us, but rest assured, your jobs are in no danger whatsoever. There is simply no money to be made in the field of comic book reviews, as I am quite sure you both know by now. Here are your review comics for the week of Wednesday, the 1st of April.
Last week was April Fool's Day, and if you thought you were going to get a Wonder Man comics starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen II's version of Wonder Man for April Fool's Day, well, you got fooled. This is just plain old Wonder Man, number 1 from Marvel Comics. It's written by Jerry Duggan, main cover by Paolo Sequeira and Rachel Rosenberg. Beautiful cover. Art by Mark Buckingham, inks by R.A. Jimenez, colors by Rachel Rosenberg, letters by VC's Joe Caramanga. It's 32 pages. It's $4.99. Here's your solicit. Lights, camera, superhero action. I see what they did there. Huh? Get it? Simon Williams has had his ups and he's had his downs, from being manipulated into villainy by the Enchantress to being one of the brightest stars in the Avengers. But just like Hollywood, no matter how low the lows, Simon keeps fighting the good fight. But what happens when the past finally catches up to him? Enter Randolph Chancellor, Simon's former cellmate. Is this a brand new character, or have we met Randolph?
Probably.
Okay, so we don't.
It literally could not matter less.
Okay, I didn't know
if he's new or not.
I didn't know if they were bringing something back or we were treading new ground here. So
the fact that Simon went to prison is not new.
I get that he went to prison. I was just wondering if he actually had a British cellmate or if we're injecting a British character in here. So you're like, hey, there was a British character in that TV show that I liked too.
Oh, fair. All right. It's probably the latter.
Okay.
Though, I mean, British is the only similarity.
That's what I was going to say. That's where this ends. I mean, like, I will say the Randolph Chancellor character gave me some kind of Trevor vibes. He's kind of a doof. he ran off with $13 million of the studio's money because they were going to make a show that never got made. He's not exactly sure what happened to it, according to him, but he was also in prison for a while. So the guy's a criminal. It's hard to know, right? I will say the story felt like a flashback to me, and maybe it's because the way they kept dressing Wonder Man. I love Mark Buckingham. His art's fantastic. I love what Buckingham does.
He's wearing a version of his 80s weird green
The
and
red
yellow.
and green, like the Christmas costume, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
And we haven't seen him in that for a while. This isn't something like he was wearing.
But it's not the same costume. It's just a modernized version of that same.
Was this what he was wearing in that recent West Coast Avengers, like 2024 that he was in?
Oh, shoot. I don't recall. I have no idea.
Maybe it was, but it threw me off a little bit. And it's not like that it's bad. It's not a great costume, honestly. Red and green just makes you look like Christmas warrior. There's no way around it. Buckingham does a nice job with it, though. They did this thing on the sides to make it look like you were looking at film, right? On the borders where there's little boxes. But they also colored the boxes red and green.
They should not have done that.
No. And at first I was like, what's going on here? And it wasn't
It
until
should have been black.
I literally read another review that said, oh, they were doing it to make it look like film strip. And I went, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I knew what they were going for, but having those holes, right, is what they're supposed to be.
Yeah,
the holes in the sides of the film. Those being red and green
Doesn't
was
help.
needlessly confusing.
Doesn't help. Duggan is doing a really nice job writing a Hollywood story for Simon, and we don't see a lot of that character. It was always like, that was my past, man. I'm an Avenger now, and I'm really upset, or I'm a ball of energy, or I'm a bad guy now, or I'm dead, or and there's even a great scene where they rattle off all these things that happened to him in what is supposedly, I don't know, the last 10 years, but is actually like 60 years of Marvel history.
Yeah, right.
And it's pretty ridiculous. Killer Watt is here from the West Coast Avengers mini. I can't say that I care for that character much, and the design is not great, but that is not Mark Buckingham's fault. He does a perfectly good job making him look as cool as he possibly could.
I think the way that he looks is a purposeful part of his character.
They're
because
kind of trying to
he
make
is
him
this
douchey. Yeah.
Sort of celebrity. Yeah.
Right. He's also like the bad boy, and he's kind of hip and cool with the kids.
I always kind of viewed him as like, oh, he's a professional wrestler trying to break into acting.
Sort
kind
of,
thing.
yeah. But he's trying to be a superhero. Hellcat is here as well, and this is going to sound like a complaint, but it's really not. I love Buckingham, but the way that he draws this, at first, I could not tell where it took place other than the fact that there was a cell phone involved in one scene. It could have been.
Do you mean when?
Yeah, it could have been the 80s. It could have been the 60s.
It takes place in the present day.
I'm aware of that, but the art, the way that he's drawing the characters, especially like Patsy, especially,
that's just Mark Buckingham, baby.
She's got a 50s bob, and like her hair's pulled back a certain way. We've got an old costume on Wonder Man. Like, there's just a lot of stuff going on here that made it look like, is this taking place in the Silver Age? It's not. It's modern day. I very much like this. It's very well written. It's funny. The art is good. If they were trying to get that, like, hey, did you like the Wonder Man show? You should check out this comic. That's not going to work. If you're a classic Wonder Man fan, this is a very meta look at the character. It's a nice usage of Simon, and I don't particularly care for Simon, but I did like this. I'm going to give it a buy it. It's a good thing it's probably a mini, though. It wouldn't be around long, I don't think.
I mean, I actually am going to disagree with you about it being appealing to fans of the show, because it hits a lot of the same beats. Not, it's obviously not the same character. I think that if you're looking for something that sort of taps into some of the same sorts of themes, I think that this will scratch an itch. It's not the exact same. If they came up with this former cellmate guy and then the similarities end at British, that's pretty terrible. I'm not convinced that that's what they were trying to do, but Buckingham's art makes everything look old.
It does.
It makes everything look old. It makes everything look dated. Not dated.
Just classic.
Classic. Sure. Timeless. silver agey, you know. It's not really the best art for a modern setting unless you're going for a very specific kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And I don't really understand what kind of vibe they were expecting Buckingham to bring to the proceedings. That said, I like Mark Buckingham a lot. I think the art's good. This is a buy it for me. I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, I like that they gave you a Wonder Man warts and all, like all the stupid continuity, even some relatives show up and shit. Like it's fun.
It is fun. And, you know, and it's
a good detective story. There's a good detective story set up here.
And I love the jokes where, you know, like you mentioned earlier, where, he meets Hellcat and he is like, have we met before? And at first I was like, hold on a minute. Wonder Man definitely knows Hellcat. And then I thought about it. And it's like, you know what? I'm not sure if they were on any Avengers teams at the same time. And then Hellcat says something like, you don't remember meeting me, dude? And he's like, I may have been a nerd at the time. You know, so it's got a lot of funny stuff like that in it. And then he was like, oh, wait, I kind of do remember that. Did I fight Moon Knight? And she's like, who hasn't fought Moon Knight?
Everybody fought Moon Knight. This is the first appearance of our boy Randolph. Definitely. So,
yeah. So I mean, you are really dialed in on all the wrong things here, I think.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. It's, this is a buy it. It's fun.
I died a couple of times. Then I was in a coma. Later, I was inert and trapped in a tube for a couple of years. Then I was
trapped in a tube. Yeah.
Then I was trapped in Rogue for a while. That's a long story.
Shit, man. I don't even remember that.
Yeah, I don't either. Great quote, though.
First out of the gate for me is Bizarro Year None, #1 from DC Comics by that other Hollywood golden boy, Kevin Smith. Also co-written by Eric Carrasco with art by Nick Pitarra, colors by Michael Garland, letters by Dave Sharp. It's 32 pages for $4.99. I am not reading the solicit because it is insufferable. It's written in Bizarro talk, and I don't want to read it.
Yeah. We already did.
Basically, it's Bizarro Year 1, right? You get it. So, you know, we've come a long way since the high highs of Kevin Smith's Daredevil and the low lows of Batman the Widening Gyre. It's nice to read a Kevin Smith comic that just doesn't have all of that baggage hanging over it anymore. The dude just writes comics if he wants to now, and I think it's great.
Maybe he just needed Eric Carrasco. Maybe that's all he needed.
Know, maybe we just needed some distance from like Kevin Smith as like the hot shit writer guy, you know? Like he could just do his thing. But yeah, also Carrasco is here. Smith and Carrasco, they're giving us this look into the past. We see Jimmy Olsen getting his start at the Daily Planet. And really, this is more about Jimmy and Perry White than it is about Bizarro. But I did enjoy Jimmy meeting the staff of the Daily Planet. I loved the small details, like there's an ongoing thread about how the planet building is full of pigeons because the toy man attacked with a giant robot nutcracker and it stabbed a hole in the building with its giant bayonet.
Yeah.
This really feels more like an evergreen continuity adjacent take on the Superman mythos. And I'm not really sure how it's going to jive with other past stories without a lot of major retconning. DC has decided that it is just part of the regular DC line. But then again, we might never hear about it again. So who knows? It's probably not worth worrying too much about. However, I found myself getting a little bit Matt Baum about it.
I was going to say, you never get to yell at me about this again. Never.
I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying I don't know where it fits. Like, I know exactly where it fits. I just don't know if it works. Art-wise, Pitarra's art is the real draw here. I mean, no offense to the writing. Nick Pitarra is perfect for a Bizarro story. Every page, it's packed from edge to edge with panels and full of tiny details. It's almost like the Bizarro Frank Quitely, which I think is very fitting because this reads like a twisted reflection of All-Star Superman,
Definitely.
Where it's like this timeless version of these characters, but they're really off kilter. Honestly, I'm surprised that this wasn't a Black Label book. Whatever. This particular take on Bizarro is a lot more. It's more human than I would have expected. He's still very gross. And I think that his transformation into like the white-skinned, craggy Bizarro that we know, that's probably part of it. But right now in this issue, he looks just like a big, beefy meathead bully. Smith's dialogue and story, they're fun. The art is fascinating and strange. There's just something about the depiction of Bizarro himself and how far the story deviates from what I'm familiar with that gave me some pause. Your mileage may vary. I was going to give this a skim it, but I recognize that a good comic is a good comic. I'm giving it a buy it because a rigid grip on continuity is not what makes a good comic. So
sure. And I don't think this Bizarro is the Bizarro we recognize yet. Like, I think this is truly a year one, how he's becoming. Because like even the Bizarro on the cover looks different than the way that Nick Pitarra is drawing
but
him
even
shows up.
the origin of like Bizarro world that they get into here, it's
sure,
way weird and different than what.
I suppose. I mean, I guess I don't know the real origin of Bizarro world, so it didn't bother me. I think Pitarra is just fucking incredible here. This panel where Superman flies through the giant toy soldier thing.
It's so awesome.
If you zoom way in, you can see he drew a tiny little toy man inside of its mouth, raising its fist like, curse you, Superman.
Oh, that's awesome.
Incredible. And when we do get to the Bizarro world stuff, it is gross and lumpy and fleshy and weird. And I really enjoyed this. I don't care about Bizarro. It's never been a character that's done much for me. I've just always seen Bizarro as kind of comic relief. So I guess I don't mind if they're changing things a little bit up for the character at all. But this was great. This was really good. I'm giving it a buy it. Beautiful looking.
Yeah, I mean, I think that as a ground floor entry point to a new take on Bizarro, you can't do much better.
Yeah, fantastic. Good luck finding it. Selling for $50-$60 on eBay for some reason. I don't know why.
Guess what, pals? That's why we have digital comics and, you know.
I don't know why.
Other methods.
You may remember my pick of the week last week was Kilroy is Here, and now I'm going to talk about it. It's from Image Comics. It's written by Joe Pruitt with main cover and art by Dalibor Talajic, colors by Stepan Bartolik. Going with that, and I apologize. I'm doing my best here, guys. Letters by Joe Martin, 32 pages for $3.99. And by the way, if we pronounce your name wrong, reach out. Tell us. We'll get it right next time. We promise. We're not too proud, okay? Here's your solicit. Throughout history, Kilroy, a being of unknown origin and power, has been cursed to wander the earth, avenging the innocent and protecting the weak. Always leaving his trademark signature, Kilroy was here to mark his presence. But what if his life has been a lie? The war to end all wars is imminent. Which side will he choose? That part of the solicit doesn't tell you a whole lot other than it's been around for a while, right? What this solicit should have told you is, hey, fans of Joe Pruitt's Kilroy, a comic book that came out in 1995 at Caliber Comics and ended in 1999. This was way back. If you were a fan, you'll want to check out this one-shot issue. Not a mini-series, not a new series, just a one-shot that revisits Joe Pruitt's classic Kilroy character. Because if you don't have that information, you're not going to know what's going on. And they don't provide much here either. There's all kinds of dialogue. A ton of dialogue. Some of the dialogue is insufferable. There was a part where one of the characters calls Kilroy pretentious, and I laughed out loud because he is. And it's right there on the page. And rather than a lot of action, there is a lot of talking. And you start to get the feel for what the story is. Like, I picked up on it. Eventually, I was like, okay, I get it. But this is not an introduction to Kilroy. This is not a jumping on point. This is not the start of a new miniseries. This is It seems like maybe an idea that Pruitt had for a mini that he's just not going to do, I guess. I don't know what else you could call it. The art is very good. And the script did not give Talajik a lot to work with, but he does a great job making the book look very dark and mysterious. When we do get the action is good, although the flaming sword looks a little weird. Both of the angels that are in this book are very similar looking, but one is dressed like Santa Claus, and he's the bad guy, I guess. He's wearing all red. I just don't know who this was for, because if I'm a fan of Kilroy, well, Kilroy's not back. Just this one shot. Hope you liked it. And if I'm not a fan of Kilroy, I don't know what this is, where it's going, or what even happened. And it just sort of stops. It doesn't sum up. There's no setup that's like, I mean, there is a setup. That's the problem. It sets up another story.
Like, I guess it's back to my mission.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, he's got a whole new mission with a whole new thing. Yep, but don't expect to read about it. We're done here.
No, I'm pretty sure it's the same old mission.
No, it wasn't. He even says, well, this is new. I mean, you're going to fix me. I have a chance to get away from my curse.
Oh,
and
right.
Like,
Because the one angel blessed him with like.
They literally tell him,
yeah.
There's a bunch of fallen angels. You go out
super like detection powers.
You go out and kill them, and you won't have to walk the earth forever avenging people.
So then
that
it's
like
a pilot episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, great. Thanks. Like, imagine if we watched one episode of Supernatural, the pilot episode, and like, do you guys like it?
But does that mean that he's hoping to be able to do more based on the strength of this one issue?
I don't know. And if they are, great. But I don't know how they're going to sell this one issue unless there's that many people that are hanging on to Kilroy from 1999. It was reprinted in 2006 by Image Comics, but even that was 20 years ago, Joe. 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to convince me that it's weird. I'm with you.
I guess I'm going to give this a skim it because from what I read, this is him doing the job. And if Chuck Dixon were to be like, here's another issue of Alien Legion, Matt, it's only for you because nobody read this book and liked it but you, I would want it to read just like this, exactly like the old Alien Legion. If that's what it's doing, it's a success. It doesn't work for me as a new reader. I don't know who's going to pick it up. It's just a bizarre exercise, but it's not terrible. It's just kind of boring. I'm giving it a skim it.
This is a leave it. It's a leave it because it doesn't do its job. And the art is pretty, but it's not good enough. Like, it doesn't make up for the fact that Pruitt does not actually tell you what's going on. It does not give readers any context for anything at all that's happening. And it sets up a vague future that will probably never see the light of day.
Maybe not. Yeah.
And that's like this comic. I hate to say it, but like there's almost no point in reading this comic.
Unless you are a fan of the old stuff.
Even so.
And you want one more.
I guess. Sure. In that rare scenario, if you are the rare fan of the original Kilroy from the early or mid 90s, have I got great news. But for everybody else on the planet Earth, this comic holds nothing for you.
Fair. No, I think that's totally fair. I'm just saying if that's the only reason I'm not giving it a leave it, because if that's the exercise, I guess you did it, but I'm not buying it.
Matt, it's okay, but you're the one reviewing this comic.
I agree.
And so if this were an issue of Alien Legion, I would expect you to give it a buy it. But it's not. It's Kilroy is here. From a company that went out of business 2 decades ago.
I agree.
No, it's a leave it. Sorry, guys. Well, I don't know if you guys have heard, but there is a TV show out right now starring a certain blind lawyer. His name is Daredevil, and these are his stories. It's Daredevil #1 from Marvel Comics. It's written by Stephanie Phillips, art by Lee Garbett, colors by Frank Martin, letters by VC's Ariana Marr. It's 32 pages for $5.99. Still can't get over that.
Yeah, that's insane.
Here is your solicit. You can bury the bodies, but never the ghosts. Hell's Kitchen is full of secrets, but no secret stays buried for long as a fearsome new supervillain named Omen has targeted Matt Murdock. It will be his alter ego Daredevil who takes the hits. But beware, this mysterious new player isn't all that they appear. A secret Daredevil will have to learn quickly as he scrambles to settle into a life and status quo we've never seen him in before. That's in all caps. Look alive, Marvelites. An all-new and unprecedented era of Daredevil starts right here. This is your legacy number 688.
We're on the road to 700. Here we come.
We're on the road, a year away from 700. I've been looking forward to this for a while now. I've been missing my monthly dose of Matt Murdock. I was not a fan of the previous run. I know that it did have its fans. Shout out to Mark Orenberger, who was just talking to us about it on the Discord today.
I thought it was perfectly fine. It was fine.
I just didn't care for it. This is a very back to basics take, and it checks all of those Daredevil boxes. Lawyer? Sort of. Check. Blind? Obviously. Check. Ninja action? Check. It's all there. In fact, it's such a fresh start that I wonder if it's going to turn off people that were left hanging by the last run, because I looked at the last couple issues and there's a lot of dangling plot threads.
There is. Yeah.
And they do not address them at all.
That might be better. I don't know.
Personally, I am totally fine that this series hits the ground running. It does its own thing. Phillips has a great handle on Matt's voice, both in and out of the costume. It comes complete with romantic tension, full of disastrous potential. Don't date Matt Murdock.
But
the
also,
number one rule of Daredevil comics.
Don't be the new villain either, because that's like way too obvious. Please.
Yeah, no. Garbett brings a more traditional superheroic look back to the series. I like the slightly redesigned costume. The new villain looks scary. There's some obvious supernatural shit going on.
Yeah.
There's a really great sense of movement throughout the action scenes that I really enjoyed from Garbett. Well done. Daredevil number 1, it's a return to form for old Hornhead. It's a great fresh start for people like me who are looking for a jumping on point or who haven't loved the last couple of volumes. Don't come here looking for answers if you want to know what happened at the end of the last run.
Also, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it.
And that cover price is a crime. So
yeah, Marvel.
It's a buy it, but the cover price is almost unforgivable.
It almost feels like an experiment. Can we get away with this? Will it sell? Let's just see. Assholes.
Here, read it however you see fit is my recommendation to you.
Maybe it's dynamic Daredevil pricing because it's so close to the
surge
show.
pricing.
Yeah,
right.
Surge pricing for Daredevil.
Right. There's a show on $5.99 for number 1.
I really like this, and I'm glad we're back to Daredevil and Hell's Kitchen doing just Daredevil stuff. Like we said, the last run kind of took him out of his comfort zone, which is good for a while, but it got a little too weird for me. This is way back to Daredevil basics, no question. And even the look of the book. I like Garbett a lot. Garbett is not what I would call flashy. That's not what dude does.
No. Again, he's right there with like a Marcus Toe.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Definitely. And I kind of like that for Daredevil as well. I don't need Daredevil to be a real flashy looking book. I loved it when Joe Quesada drew Daredevil, but I don't need that every issue. I kind of like it a little harder. This feels like a good first step. It's bringing Matt back to where he needs to be. I'm giving it a buy it, but I agree. What the fuck, Marvel? Part of me wants to give this a skim it based on cover price alone, just to send a message to Marvel. Is it good? Sure. Is it the best Daredevil I've read? No, but maybe there's promise here. But is it worth $6 for 32 pages?
And now, here are your very expensive comics for the week of Wednesday, the 8th of April.
I'm now about to introduce a book that costs $8, but stay with me. This is Godzilla's Monster Piece Theater presents Romeo and Juliet and Godzilla, number 1 from IDW. It's written by Adam Tierney, art by Sean Peacock, backup and main cover by Tom Scholey. 52 pages for $7.99. So there's 52 pages here.
It's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. IDW is an indie. I don't mind that. Not at all.
No ads. So
Of course.
Yeah.
There's house ads in the back, probably.
Right. Here's your solicit. The explosive literary mashup series returns, but this time Godzilla is taking on the classics one story at a time. Oh, Godzilla, Godzilla, wherefore art thou, Godzilla? First, it's invading the Bard's most revered play, Romeo and Juliet. Families at war, forbidden love blossoming, Godzilla on its path of destruction. Fair Verona won't be so fair for long. And Tom Scioli returns to the series to write and illustrate a backup story starring the legendary thief entitled Robin Hood and the Monster of Nottingham. I'll let you guess who the monster is. So the last time we did this little adventure, it was Tom Scioli's book, and he borrowed a bunch of different literary characters and crushed them into Godzilla Monsterpiece Theater. It was wonderful. Just laugh out loud.
Fucking loved
fun.
it.
So good. This is a lot more focused. Now Godzilla is now going to be invading these classics one at a time, basically. And I will say I was a little shaken by the idea because I'm like, I don't know. Can you pull this off? Yes. The answer is a resounding yes.
I think in theory, yeah, absolutely.
Not only did this creative team pull it off, but they so creatively worked Godzilla into the story of Romeo and Juliet that I think it may have been a little better, honestly.
Don't be silly.
I mean, as far as reading it in graphic format, yes, it works. There's like little things that they did in here that just made me giggle because it's Romeo and Juliet. They're taking the dialogue directly from the story, putting it on the page, but changing things subtly. Like while all this is going on, everyone is running and screaming, and Romeo's so in love that he can barely pay attention to the fact that Godzilla is attacking. He's got serious issues. Right? Not to mention the fact that Mothra shows up, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but another one of my favorite giant kaiju characters shows up as well in a completely different form. That was so fucking great.
That was pretty good.
Peacock's art is very reminiscent of Scioli's, so it wouldn't surprise me if he handpicked this creative team to work on this. I've never heard of either of these guys. They're both excellent. The art is very cartoony, but still violent and really huge in scope. They use these textured backgrounds and kind of muted colors, and it gives the comic a classics illustrated type look. Remember those old books from the 60s where they'd do like The Count of Monte Cristo or Moby Dick in comic book form? They're using a Showa era Godzilla, which is like the classic Godzilla from the 50s and 60s, and other kaiju as well. So it gives Godzilla a very classic look as well, as opposed to the updated sexy Kong versus Godzilla we have running around right now that I fucking hate. Anyway, they just do little things with this character. Like in Romeo and Juliet, the whole reason that Romeo didn't get the message that Juliet was going to fake her death was because the friar that she gave the message to, she was like, take this to Romeo, tell him I'm going to fake my death. Come meet me there. He ends up being quarantined because he went to get a buddy to come with him to Verona to deliver the message. But his buddy was in a house treating lepers or something. I don't even remember what it was. And they were like, you can't leave, man. You've been exposed. Message never gets to Romeo. Here, the friar runs outside with the message and Godzilla steps on it. Bummer. So Romeo never gets the message. And of course, instead of drinking poison, there's monster stuff going on that affects both Romeo and Juliet. This was just brilliant, stupid fun. And I loved it. I'm giving it a massive buy it. I cannot wait to see them force Godzilla into every single one of the classics. Give me more of this. Huge buy it.
This is fun. It's charming in its way for what it is. I have so little interest in this particular story that they're doing. I'm not like Shakespeare's great. I'm just not the biggest fan. And so I'm holding off for, a different literary masterpiece, maybe. I loved the Robin Hood backup.
Do you think the idea was maybe like, yeah, hey, if you didn't like Romeo and Juliet, good news, Godzilla's in it now? Like, that's kind of the exercise, right?
I mean,
let's make this a lot more interesting.
I don't think the exercise is trying to make people like Romeo and Juliet by adding Godzilla.
But what I'm saying is, I think you may be missing the forest for the trees by saying, like, I don't like Romeo and Juliet.
I'm saying that this book is so beholden to like Shakespearean dialogue and Shakespeare's actual words that it's kind of a difficult read if you don't really like that sort of thing.
Okay.
Now, I think it was pretty fascinating what Lord Stephen Fino, the THN Master of Coin, who is the Ziggurat's foremost Shakespeare expert. He said that he really appreciated how much of Shakespeare's text was actually in the issue.
Yeah.
Though they kind of messed with the meter of the verse. It didn't quite work all the way through, but they did a pretty good job overall.
Well,
so I think
tough to rhyme Godzilla. I'll say that.
No, I understand. But it was interesting to see his perspective. But this isn't really my cup of tea. It's a skim it for me. I think I love the idea. I love Godzilla's Monsterpiece Theater as an institution, as a storytelling device.
As an exercise.
I'm looking
perhaps.
forward to the next one. I thought the Robin Hood part was fucking awesome because I'm a huge Robin Hood guy. And so, yeah, I think this is great. It's a strong skim it.
Yeah, just not great enough for you to buy. Sorry, kids.
Well, because $8 is a lot on something you're not really all that into.
Fair.
But it's a strong skim it. So and now it's time for a comic with a whole lot less yiffing than you would expect. It's The Fury of Firestorm, number one from DC.
The Fury of Firestorm. We've seen a lot of changes to characters, but they're not doing that.
Oh, that's typo in my notes. Sorry. I was so confused.
That would be some truly next level DC shit.
These are the jokes, folks. It's written by Jeff Lemire with art by Rafael De La Torre, colors by Marcelo Maiolo, letters by Lucas Gattoni. It's 32 pages for $3.99. The community of Bedford, Colorado is a sleepy small town. The people say hello to their neighbors, attend town hall meetings, and root for the local high school football team on Friday nights. But this idyllic small town is thrown upside down when the nuclear man arrives and starts experimenting. Firestorm has turned buildings to sand and people to glass with no remorse and no warning. But what exactly provoked Ronnie Raymond to commit this heinous act? And can anyone contain the fury that is Firestorm?
Woo.
Cosmic event aside, Firestorm going crazy is probably one of the worst things that can happen in the DCU.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, that's exactly what Jeff Lemire's story is about. A crazy Captain Atom is bad. Walking nuclear reactor.
Sure.
Big time bad news.
But he's just going to blow up. Right?
Sure.
That's what he's going to do.
But this is so much worse than that. This is almost a horror comic in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there's way more to it than just he crazy. And the reveal of what's really going on here is incredible. The story, the actual, plot of the story is more about Firehawk, who gets called in to deal with the situation. If you don't know who Firehawk is, the book spells it out for you, but here I'll tell you. She's an obscure character from the 1980s. She's Ronnie's ex-girlfriend, and she's got similar powers, but nowhere near as strong.
I did not know who Firehawk was.
She's been around here and there. She does not appear often at all. There are some truly nightmarish moments here, but they're also a pretty big clue that Ronnie isn't really running the show anymore, and that's patently obvious from almost the first moment you hear Firestorm speak. The big question, of course, is where is Professor Stein? And we are going to find out hopefully soon. The art here by De La Torre is perfect for this kind of book. The style is relatively realistic, which makes it way more disturbing when Firestorm starts committing atrocities.
Yeah.
If they were all like super cartoony, it wouldn't be as bad. But no, they all look normal. Ugh.
These melting people together. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's bad, dude. I have always loved Firehawk, and she looks hot as hell here. Her costume has not changed, not once.
It's
in
cool.
The 45 years she's been around.
It's very cool.
Yeah. De La Torre shifts styles more than once as, the layers of this onion start to peel back. No spoilers, of course. Beautiful painted color from Mayolo. This book is gorgeous. So I first laid eyes on Firestorm in the pages of Justice League of America number 180, nearly 45 goddamn years ago. It was like his second issue as a new recruit to the JLA, and I have loved him since that day. I wish he were more popular. I'm just also glad that weird takes like this are given a chance, because if Firestorm was a superstar on the level of like a Batman or a Superman or even a Nightwing or a Wally West, you wouldn't get this kind of shit. But you can do it with Firestorm because nobody cares. This is a perfect first issue to kick off Lemire and De La Torre's just nightmarish mystery. This is a huge buy it. It was awesome.
I really like this too. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. Maybe it's a DC thing, but I mean, they have done stuff where like the Flash freaked out and Wally West murdered a bunch of people, and they rolled back on that. But like the Incredible Hulk,
everybody immediately but that's my point, right? Is that everybody immediately revolts against it.
Sure, but the Incredible Hulk right now is a demon marching across the Marvel universe. So
I don't know what to tell you, bro. That's the Hulk.
I really like this though, and I don't think it's a new weird take on Firestorm as much as it's like, what the fuck is wrong with Firestorm is what we're investigating.
Yeah, no, it's not a weird take at all, but there's something obviously not.
Something is wrong.
Right.
And that's the interesting part of the story.
Yes.
What happens when one of these gods, benevolent gods with crazy powers, shows up and freaks out? And at first I was like, oh no, I really don't need a Dr. Manhattan type take on Firestorm. And I was really happy where Firehawk showed up, and the first thing she says is, when the government's like, you got to come with us, something's wrong with Firestorm, and she looks at him, she's like, that's not Firestorm. Just says no.
Well, what she says is, that's not Ronnie Raymond.
Yeah, because she knows
which is the key.
She knows it's not Ronnie Raymond. He's a good guy. He'd never do anything like this. So great hook. I don't care about Firestorm at all. I never have. And I've always thought the costume was kind of stupid, but whatever. He looks great here. This is really interesting. Jeff Lemire is a perfect guy to get me interested in this. And quite honestly, I think Jeff Lemire is better at doing these personal stories than doing DC team stories. I'd like to see him do more of these. I'm giving it a buy it.
I mean, really, we only have the one team story to go off of, but yeah.
Yeah. His JSA just...
I haven't been reading it, which is, it really makes me sad because I love the JSA a lot.
This is going to sound wild to longtime listeners, but we're done with superheroes for the show, and we still have 2 comic books to go. This is Neighborhood Watch.
Naysayers.
I'm talking about Neighborhood Watch #1 from Boom Studios, written by Sarah Gailey with art and cover by Haining, one name. Colors by Rebecca Nolte. Letters by Jody Troutman. 32 pages for $4.99. Here's your solicit. Dig into an all-new mind-bending thriller from Hugo Award-winning Sarah Gailey and fan favorite artist Haining. You know what? I'm not going to read the solicit because it gives too much away. And you got to be better than this, Boom. Hold some back. I also understand you got to sell the book, right?
But I totally agree with you. If I had read that solicit first,
right,
that ending would have not had the same impact.
What I will tell you is that this is a story of 2 people forced into an uneasy alliance to discover the truth behind their friend's murder. I'll leave it at that, right? This shows the reader 2 very different neighborhood associations, essentially. One is this rich, very tight-knit, but kind of shitty group of very wealthy people. The other is like a straight-up hippie commune who also argues a lot and has differences in opinions about stuff. And the book bounces back and forth, sort of mirroring the 2 communities, right? Following 2 main characters. Each one deals with things a certain way. The rich girl is kind of an alcoholic and is always seen here drinking wine.
She drinks a lot of wine.
Yeah, but I mean, they did that on Cougar Town too, so it was cute.
Sure, right.
The leader of the hippie commune is much more down to earth and worried about like an eggplant harvest. They've got way too many eggplants. What are we going to do? It's a different set of problems, but they all kind of argue the same way. And they do a really nice job here, sort of showing you that, yes, they're completely different communities, but they are inherently linked and they're about to find out why. And I'm not going to give away what that is because the hook is so good. This is a really solid detective murder type story with a fantastic fucking twist. And I kind of can't believe I guess they don't give up the whole twist in the solicit, but they gave up too much. Haining's art is perfect for this. She has a very manga inspired look. She's really good at these sort of kaleidoscoping panels that are just showing you spread pages of all the different stuff that's going on within the two different communities. And then later, as we start to see how they're linked, she uses that same panel trick to bring two characters together with like one is right side up and the other is upside down. Yes, that was
excellent. I loved that.
It just works really well, especially in the reveal that it's giving you. This is a great script with very good art to match. And we all know we're here for a murder mystery, but this story takes it like one step further and then it becomes a different story. Like this reminds me of a show like Purgatory. It seems like one thing and then all of a sudden it's something else. But also, this is a completely female-driven story with a completely female creative team. I'm giving this a huge buy it. I really like this.
I did too. And so Haining, I knew that sounded familiar, the name, and the art, while the art's a little different than I recall. But do you remember a couple of years ago, DC put out that small line of Asian-led books? And
yes.
like there was some team books. One of them was called Spirit World.
Okay.
And Haining was the artist of that book.
Okay.
And I remember enjoying that quite a bit. And that character from Spirit World made some appearances in the mainline DCU.
Okay.
But yeah, art is great. The storytelling, the way that the panels are laid out, that page where the two women from the different communities come together especially is exceptional. It's very well done.
Yeah.
I think that the mystery is super duper compelling and I enjoyed this a lot. Yeah, this is a buy it for me. Our final book of our main reviews, at least, is Pretty Hate Machine #1 from Mad Cave because Matt Baum bullied me. Just kidding.
I thought this was the making of Trent Reznor's like first record, and turns out
pretty hate machine. Yeah,
something completely different. No Nine Inch Nails at all.
It's a different podcast. Surprise! You're on a different podcast now. This is written by Tim Seeley and Ryan Onan with art by Paolo Armitano. Sorry, Paolo. Colors are by Roman Stevens. It's 32 pages for $4.99. Here's your solicit. Thomas is in so much pain, as if high school wasn't hard enough. When his father is killed in a freak accident and his mother begins to take refuge in the company of his uncle, Thomas is visited by a ghoulish kid named Luther with knives for hands and rows of teeth like an ancient shark, who tells Thomas his father was murdered and that anything his mother and uncle tell him is a lie. Thomas doesn't know who or what to believe. Does he believe his friends, his teachers, his mother, who tell him grief isn't for the faint of heart, but it will pass? Or does he believe the demented Luther, who pulls Thomas through a bloody whirlwind of conspiracies, vengeance, and slaughter, showing him the lies and corruption that surround him? Thomas must fight to discover the truth behind his father's death while struggling to keep his new friend from leaving a massacre in his wake. But that truth might be far more sinister than Thomas is prepared for. That is a fucking solicit.
I'll tell you what.
Good job. I don't know who wrote that, but kudos. So, what if your dad was murdered and a demon from hell wanted to help you find his killer and get revenge? That's a great setup.
It's a very anime manga kind of setup.
And you can, like, I get it. I can kind of see that influence.
Absolutely. This gave me like some Death Note kind of feels as I read.
Yes, right. We've got a close-knit group of teenage friends here in a small town. So, you know, it's also got that kind of like Paper Girls-esque, like teens in a weird adventure kind of thing. We quickly learn that the death of Thomas's dad is much, much more than meets the eye. Of course, we learned it from a very unlikely source, the aforementioned Luther with the knife hands and everything. I loved the hallucinatory quality of the storytelling. You're never quite sure exactly what's really happening.
Yeah.
At any time.
Yeah. Like I have a feeling by issue 4, this could be a completely different story than we think it is.
And there's one thing that I wish Seeley didn't, that I wish the creators didn't do, which was have the teen boys at the beginning see, well, they didn't see Luther. They didn't see Luther.
Yeah.
They just saw, but they did see an illusion of their own dead bodies, which obviously was not real.
Right.
So there's something weird going on. I sort of wish that Thomas was the only one that saw this stuff happening, but excellent dialogue from Seeley. He nails the banter of the teenage boys. Like it was very funny. Like, and you know, not that it should be repeated, but there's a lot of like inappropriate jokes and things like that.
Yeah, they
at
sound
each
like
other's expense.
shitty teenage boys is what they sound like.
They're shitty teenage boys. Exactly. I was a shitty teenage boy. It was like, this rings very true. Armentano's art is perfect for this story. I loved the sharp lines and the skewed camera angles. The panels without backgrounds, they have this kind of illustrative pattern to the background, like a textured background, which makes the characters pop out. Luther's design is awesome. As the solicit said, it's the knife hands, it's the shark teeth. He's also always dripping with gore.
Constantly. Yeah.
Constantly
like
dripping with blood.
in blood. Like,
and so the scene I mentioned at the beginning where the boys stumble upon this message left for them in the forest. It is truly disturbing. Like it's gross. I almost let this book pass me by, but this was another fantastic debut from Mad Cave. There's enough mystery here to keep you guessing, and there's plenty of demonic gore for horror fans. This is a buy it. I really enjoyed Pretty Hate Machine.
Tim Seeley is great at horror. We've seen him be good at horror in the past plenty of times, and it's nice to see him back here. This had a very Vertigo meets kind of manga anime feel to me, not because of the art, just the setup being as bizarre as it is.
Right,
and
yeah.
This sort of like unlikely, very violent, not hero, but thing that is willing to help the main character. And you don't know, can I trust this thing? Is it a murderer? Am I the murderer? Am I picturing all this? Like, am I making all, like the only thing that is a hint that there's more going on is those kids that saw something, right?
Right. The kids definitely saw a vision of their own mangled, mutilated bodies spelling out a message.
We also don't know if that is directly related to this other character or not.
Also, they don't see Luther.
No, that's my point.
It could be Thomas doing it. Luther could not. It could be that Luther's not real at all.
That's just it. And that's why I say I have a feeling by the time we get to issue 4, this book will be completely different than we thought it was. And that's fun. I love this kind of mystery horror that makes you kind of look at the gore and stuff like that and makes you question, like, well, I don't know. Is this bad guy with knife hands and sharp teeth actually the good guy? I don't know yet. I'm giving this a buy it, though. There's a lot more going on here than what it looks like on first read. Really nice job by this.
I think that there's this sound effect, clip, clip, clip.
Yeah.
And it's the sound effect of Thomas's tears kind of hitting the ground, and also what the blood sounds like when it's trickling out of people's bodies.
Right.
And I think that that's on purpose. I think that that's a clue.
I do too. I think the two are inextricably linked. Like, I
just don't know what it's a clue of.
Is it his dark side? Is it like another version of himself he's invented that is murdering people because he can't accept that he's actually doing it? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But this is great. It's a buy it. That's it for reviews, but these weren't the only comics we read in the last 2 weeks. It's time for Ludicrous Speed Reads, where we take less time to discuss even more new comics.
Ludicrous Speed! Go!
I read Batgirl 18 from DC. Cassandra continues to deal with her newly discovered extended family and her new bloodbending powers in this issue. Tate Bromball's story is jam-packed with characters and concepts. Takeshi Miyazawa's art is perfect for this high-concept martial arts action story. And I was thrilled to discover that Cass's new half-brother, the son of Lady Shiva, is also the son of Bronze Tiger, which I thought was awesome.
Oh, that's neat. I like that.
Yeah, this is a buy it. This book is great.
I read Nova Centurion number 6 from Marvel, written by Jed MacKay with art by Alvaro Lopez. This Nova series was really great, and the only thing that was to its fault was that it spun out of Imperial, and we've now canceled all the Imperial stuff. Final issue here. One of the best things they've done with Nova in quite a while. The supporting cast is really good, really great art. There was a fill-in on issue 3. I'm not sure why. It's only 6 issues. But not this book's fault. I'm giving it a buy it. Sorry, Jed MacKay. You did what you could with Nova. Blame it on Hickman's Imperial.
Yeah. Also from last week, I read Mad About DC. It was a one-shot from, you guessed it, DC. It was comic book sized, and it was a wonderful love letter to both Mad Magazine and DC Comics. You may have seen the ads, the videos that got posted last week. Chip Zdarsky takes point on this. They put out a really hilarious promo video of Chip Zdarsky dressed as the Flash to promote this comic. And he has brought in some of the biggest names in the business. And I mean that, like Tom King, Gail Simone, Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo. And it's not just to make, it's to make really silly jokes, but they're also really great jokes. Not everyone lands, but the ones that do hit like a pile driver. This was a real treat from start to finish. That's a buy it. Big, thick comic book, $5.99.
Looking at you, Marvel. The last thing I read from last week was Royals number 1 from Image Comics, written by Derek Kirk Kim with art by Jacob Perez. Really solid cartoon art here. I love the look at this book, and the hook is awesome. It's 2 brothers that are telepathic poker hustlers in Seoul, Korea.
Oh, I love that.
And they get in real deep with a crime family they shouldn't have fucked with.
Like you do.
Yeah, it's great. It was like Rounders in Korea with superpowers. I'm giving this a
Awesome.
buy it. It was great.
Moving on to this week, I read G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, Silent Missions. Crimson Guard, number 1 from Image Comics / Skybound. You have to say it that way. It's contractual. There's, no use fighting it. Last year, Skybound put out a bunch of these silent one-shots featuring members of the Joe team. I reviewed the Beachhead one by Phil Hester. Loved it. Now it's Cobra's turn. I've always been fascinated by the Crimson Guard. I just think they're so cool.
They're cool as hell.
And
yeah.
Gabriel Hardman gives us an incredibly tense action story about a nameless new recruit who has risen to the ranks and become a Crimson Guardsman just in time for G.I. Joe to attack Cobra Island or wherever the fuck they are. And he's got to protect Cobra Commander from an overwhelming G.I. Joe force. It ends about as well as you'd expect for that guy, but it is a great ride, masterfully drawn by Hardman. This gets a buy it. Fantastic.
And the only thing I read this week so far, outside of the other stuff, was Web of Venom, #1 from Marvel Comics.
Oh, you poor sap.
It's written by Jordan Morris with art by Luke Ross and Ramon Rosanas. Marvel made a big stink about who was this new host. I'm going to tell you, it's Boomerang. Who gives a shit?
Boomerang.
Now,
It's dumb.
Here's the thing. This is a very good comic book. It is very well written, and it is a very interesting look into the life of Boomerang. Him trying to sort of be a good guy again, get out of the criminal world, and kind of gets sucked back in and accidentally gets bonded to another symbiote. The only problem with this is it's another fucking symbiote. Jordan Morris wrote the hell out of this comic. It's really good.
Just give me a Boomerang series.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. But here's where it suffers. If you just give me a Boomerang series, no one's going to buy it. That's what sucks. And they're doing some tricks here that you'll recognize from the Venom movies. So I see what they're doing, but this is much better written than any of the Venom movies. I'll tell you that much. Half the art is really good. Half the art is not so great. I'm giving this a skim it, but man, I got to say, Jordan Morris, for a guy that was given what is absolutely an editorial edict.
Yeah, right.
He did the best he could. This is a very good comic. I just don't care about. I can't care about another symbiote. I just can't.
Shout out to Jordan Morris, boy detective.
I don't have room in my heart for another Venom.
Check out Jordan Jesse Go on the Maximum Fun Network if you want more Jordan Morris.
He's great.
And finally, I read Uncanny X-Men 26 from Marvel. This is the first chapter in a new story, and it feels very much like a throwback to the Chris Claremont, Louise Simonson era. Someone is messing with the dreams of the new kids. We get some intentional homages to the past. I don't want to spoil too much, but Luciano Vecchio unintentionally borrows a page from Rafael de la Torre's playbook from Firestorm #1.
Okay.
And it's great. Gail Simone is doing a fantastic job on this book when she isn't forced to take part in meaningless events.
Yeah.
This arc looks like it's going to be a ton of fun, and I think it's worth a try if you're looking for something that captures that classic X-Men feel while also doing something new. I'm giving this a buy it. It's not necessarily the most forgiving jumping on point because you're not going to know who all these kids are.
Sure.
But I mean, look. This wouldn't have stopped me if I was 8 years old. I'd have jumped right into it and been thrilled.
Fair. I just don't care about the kids.
That is it for our new comic reviews, but now it's your turn. Head to our Discord and join in the new comic talk, and then join us for our gang hang this weekend. More details over at our Discord.
Time to head to the THN Sanctum Sanctorum. That is where we go to make our must-read comic picks. For next Wednesday, April 15th, we go there to burn incense, to clear our minds, to focus on our ancient tomes, and pick some comics. If they're going to read one comic next week, Joe Patrick, what is it?
It's tax day.
It is tax day.
Ready.
Hope you saved a little bit of money, suckers.
Not me. I paid a ton of money, and I'm pissed about it. All right, my pick for next week is G.I. Joe 21. Now, hear me out. We do a lot of G.I. Joe on this show, and I get it. But
you do it all.
I know, I get it. So, but I'm going to get to it here. This is from Image Comics and Skybound. This is the flagship book of the Energon universe next to Transformers. It's written by Joshua Williamson, art by Tom Riley. 32 pages for $3.99. It is being advertised as the return of Storm, Shadow, and Scarlet, who I don't think have been in this book at all. I think they were just in the Scarlet Mini. Maybe they were in 1 or 2 issues earlier. However, 42 years ago, this month, the most famous issue of G.I. Joe of all time was published. G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, number 21, same number. The legendary silent interlude starring Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. I'm calling my shot. Williamson and Riley are finally introducing Snake Eyes to the Energon universe in next week's issue. I don't know anything for certain. This is not insider knowledge, but I can feel it in my bones.
All right. Okay. Tom Scioli, who we talked about earlier, has a breakdown of that G.I. Joe issue on his YouTube channel that you should, oh man, it's so good. He goes panel for panel, just breaking down that issue. It's an incredible issue. My pick for next week is Fireborn, #1 from Image Comics, written by Kurt Pyers and Jonas Franklin, who we confirmed is in fact Bonus Jonas, the 4th Jonas brother that is not in the band. Go figure.
Yeah.
Huh? Art by
host of Claim to Fame, Franklin Jonas.
Art by Patrick Mulholland. It's 48 pages for $4.99. This is set in the world of Kurt Pyers' Lost Fantasy, which was that anthology.
Oh, right.
We reviewed #1, which had 2 stories in it, both of which were fucking fantastic. And the whole idea is superhero meets fantasy type stuff. In this one, it's about a kid who finds a dragon egg that bonds to him and basically gives him fire powers. He's now this like flaming sort of, it almost looks like a Power Ranger on fire. But
I mean, it's sort of like
Power Ranger.
It's sort of like Radiant Black.
Yeah, kind of.
With like fire magic.
But this is what they call a high-octane fusion of fantasy and superheroes, perfect for fans of Invincible and How to Train Your Dragon. Like, okay,
sure.
I think it's a little more violent than that because they also mentioned absolute Batman. So,
oh boy, they're really swinging for the fences here.
But I really like Lost Fantasy, and Kurt Pyers is great. The art in this looks fucking rad. So
the art does look very good.
Hope you pre-ordered it because this one is hot.
Oh. Did you mean to do that?
No, I didn't mean to.
No
that
pun intended.
Excelsior! Oh.
That's it for THN 810. If you dig our new comic show, check out our YouTube channel. And while you're there, be sure to like and subscribe. I put up books, pictures of this stuff. It takes time, folks. A lot of work goes into it. Also, comment on that shit. I don't care. Just comment so they know there's humans watching it and not just robots. Also, give us stars, reviews, wherever you get your podcasts. It's how you can spread the good word of the show and get us in front of other new potential listeners.
I've got a lot of real life stuff going on next week, so we are taking a short break from the main show. We will be back in 2 weeks with another new comics review show.
All right, then. THN is a listener-supported podcast. It wouldn't be possible without the generosity of our donors, like our patron, Sarah King. Sarah understands we got to take a week off every once in a while. It's just how it works. And if you support the show and are a sweet, understanding person like Sarah, you can hear this week's extra where... Oh, we are doing that. Where we're taking a look at the next levels and all-ins of years past. We're talking about when DC gives us another new...
Not just DC, but DC and Marvel.
Oh.
Like your Marvel Nows, your New 52s, your DCUs, YOU.
What are these called? New...
I mean, they're not like
pushes?
reboots. They're like,
yeah.
They're publishing initiatives.
New initiatives. Okay. We're going to see how they stack up compared to the latest next level. You can sign up to be a patron at patreon.com/2headed nerd.
Before we go, our weekly shout out goes to the Ziggurats comptroller Brian Domingos, who appeared on our pal Adriano's Instant Ink podcast, along with artist Roberto Vallacava, who is the normal co-host. And the trio created an original one-page comic on the spot from start to finish, teaching viewers about the comics making process along the way.
That is awesome.
Word to you, buddy. Check out Instant Ink. You can also go to the Instagram and see the comics that they create, and they're super fun.
Cool.
Brian, I have to say, you're just as beautiful as I've always imagined you. You can find the podcast on YouTube at Instant Ink Podcast. I'll also link to that particular episode in the notes for this show.
Till next time, true believers, remember to pre-order your comics, or your retailer might just call you out for watching a podcast where the hosts don't even appear on the video. It's sad, I know, but this is the Two-Headed Nerd, signing off.
Then they'll know that we're not as good looking.
Speak for one of us.